What's going on, guys? Lots of grading companies out there. You guys know I do some grading plays myself, specifically at PSA, but there's other companies out there too. We all know who they are. You know, MNT is here in Canada, SGC down in the States, and there's the PSA and the BGS. You got CSG, you got all these different grading companies. But we're back. We're going to take a look at MNT. It always gets talked about, you know, should I send my cards to MNT? Should I not? Is it worth it? So we're going to try and break that down a little bit. Hopefully, there's going to be information in here too if you're submitting or doing submissions to other grading companies as well. So hopefully you get some good stuff out of this and there's some good takeaways. So let's dive into MNT. Okay, guys, let's get right into it. Should I use MNT for investment grading? You notice how I don't say flipping. I don't want to use that word. It's like a swear word or something. Those flippers, right? Let's take a look at who MNT is, why I choose mint grading. So what they say is we're the modern choice for the modern collector, striving to go above and beyond and meet all of our customers' needs. You know, wonderful. I think that's a great statement about us. So they use high quality plastic. Slabs are not imported, they're created in North America, so you know that's good. MNT graders come with a wealth of experience in the hobby industry, and they ensure all cards are graded equal footing with honesty, integrity, and consistency amongst all experts. So I mean, certainly what I think we want out of grading, and yeah, I think that's really fair. The benefits of grading: so all MNT slabs are sonically sealed, create a tamper-proof encasing to keep your cards secured. The secondary market has proven that higher-end cards show an increased value compared to non-graded cards. Have the comfort of knowing the exact condition your cards are in on their grading scale. So we'll get into the grading scale in a second, but MNT is based out of Toronto. I don't remember the suburb, but they're based out of Toronto. You know, local company, small company, just really coming up. They've been around a few years now, or a couple years, maybe it's not even that long. I believe they've been in the game since I've been here, which has only been a year and a bit. So they're from Toronto though. Toronto based. In terms of a grading scale, they use a 10-point scale, much like BGS. So it's 0.5s. It's not like PSA 1 to 10 with 0.5s. They use the BGS type scale where it's 9.5 is a gem mint, and then 10 is, what do they call it? It's on their special cracked ice label, but it is called a flawless 10. That's theirs. So they have the flawless 10. You don't get many of those. They're extremely rare. I didn't look at the pop reports to know exactly how many they give, but it's very, very rare. So, you know, you're not, I mean, certainly you're shooting to get those, but it's not likely that you're going to get one. The 9.5 gem mint is the standard, you know, gem mint card. That's their grading scale. We'll take a look at their slabs. So pretty nice slabs. You know, I like them. They certainly have the font going on, the BGS style of look, and then they have the MNT logo there, where otherwise there would be a BGS label, but looks like a nice slab. I've never held one of these slabs, so I don't know how the quality is or how the shininess of the slab is. But that's your MNT 9.5, and then we'll take a look. Pretty cool. So that's their cracked ice refractor-ish 10 pristine slab right there. So pretty neat label on the slab there. I think it looks really good, and that's what you can expect for slabs when they come back from MNT. And if you do get below an 8.5 or an 8.5 and below, they have a silver label, so it's similar to the cracked ice, but it's not cracked ice, right? It's just a silverish label. And that's the 8.5s and below. So what do MNTs sell for? 9.5 sell for. So that's what everyone wants to know. You know, what's the resale value of these things? Should I be flipping them or buying them to grade them? And remember, guys, this video is more if you're looking to do this from an investment / flipping perspective. If you're grading these things for your personal collection, it has nothing to do with this. Of course you should grade it if you want to you want to grade with them and put it in your PC. These things don't matter. This is when you're taking your own capital and putting it towards something, and you want to increase that capital, so send money out and get more money coming back in. You know, these are the things that you want to consider. This video is more for you, not for those. It's not me bashing MNT, like it's good, it's bad. If you like the slabs, if you like the way that it looks, you know, you do you, right? You do you. But let's take a look at what they sell for resale. So we have Joel Farabee sold for $80. These are all Canadian prices. Carter Hart $135. I'll scroll through some of these. So Sorokin $76, McKinnon $650, selling about $500 raw. So I just threw that in there because it was on. All these prices too are done in the last 2 weeks. Bowen Byram $115, Stützle $181, Lafreniere $345, Svetch $137, Kubalik $32. Scroll through a few of these. Adam Fox $89, just sold a PSA 10 for like $500, but sold for $89. That's a MNT 9.5. Kirill $225, Elias Pettersson $250. So that's some of the values you can expect to get back from these. Again, these are within the last 2 weeks, and I didn't cherry pick them. I just grabbed the sales that I saw. So what do we want to look for on these? We want to take a look at what the multiple is from the raw to the MNT 9.5. Okay, so on the Joel Farabee sells for $30 raw, $80 MNT 9.5, giving a ratio of 2.6. Carter Hart $52 raw, sells for $135 BGS 9.5, giving us a ratio of 2.6. Happens to be the same. Scroll through a few of these again. You know, Nathan McKinnon there, $500, 1.3. Okay. Bowen Byram, $30, selling at 3.8 times. So a better ratio there. You always want to be looking for these higher ratios, right? You don't want that Nathan McKinnon doesn't make sense. You know, you grade that and you're getting 1.3x return. Just not worth the risk, not worth wasting the relatively small amount, $30. Stützle 2.6, Lafreniere 2.3, Svetch 1.7. So there's a perfect example. $80 raw, $137 MNT 9.5. Probably not worth doing that. Dominic Kubalik, we'll scroll through these, and I showed all the ratios for those cards. Okay. And we'll get back to that in a second. So what if we submitted all of those cards? Okay, so what if we took one of each of those? And remember, this is assuming that you got all 9.5. So everything comes back gem mint, every card. That's never going to happen, or not very likely. But what if that happened? What would that look like? So first of all, we would have to purchase those cards raw. So that would cost us $879. The value after grading, and sorry, the raw card purchase price, I didn't include the McKinnon in there. I just took it out. I just put it on there so you guys could sort of see that, you know, one sold, whoever graded it there and wanted to sell it. Good for them. I'd crack it. I'd crack a 9.5. I wouldn't buy it. Well, I would buy it. I'd crack it. Anyways, so again, sorry. Raw card purchase $879, not including the McKinnon, and then the value after grading, assuming again all of them are MNT 9.5s, we would have $2,008 worth of cards there. So not bad. $879 to 2008, you're up at about 100, call it 110, 115%, somewhere right in there. And we do want to take a look at the expenses though, right? So anytime we do something like this, there's going to be expenses that you incur in doing it. So first of all, grading costs. $30 a card is what they charge. That is something that I didn't go over, was the pricing. Okay guys, so I did want to show you the pricing, so I just pulled it up here. It'll be a little bit choppy, I'll chop it in there, but you can see this the service levels here. So they have 2-day service levels from 1 to 10 cards is $50 each, and then it's $47 for if you submit 11 to 25 cards. And then they have a 6-day service, which would be $38 per card. We're going to assume that we're submitting 11 to 25 cards. And then a 30-day service is going to cost you that $30 each. And then a 90-day service is going to cost you $19 per card. So $19 per card, pretty reasonable. You're at the 90 days. And right now they are behind. They do have a backlog of 4 to 8 weeks from what I'd read on the site. That goes back to September, but that's the most recent update. Everywhere's experiencing delays. You know that, from PSA to BGS to SGC even getting behind a little bit, although they're keeping up pretty well. And no different with MNT here. So I used the 30 days at $30 in the calculations that I did. And we're going to assume that service level. Down here you have shipping costs, so it's going to cost you essentially $24 to get these cards shipped back to you. But that's their pricing. If you want to have a look at it, it's on their website. Go ahead and visit them there. That's mntgrading.com. Okay guys, so we'll get back to those expenses. Expenses would be $450 in grading. That's at $30 per card. The shipping would be another $30 plus $24. That's going to give you a total of $54. And giving you a total expenses of $504. Okay, so you've paid $879 for the raw cards. After grading, it would be worth $2,008, and we have $504 of expenses along the way. So I would give you a profit of $679. Certainly nothing wrong with that. There were a total of 15 cards in there, by the way, so not a bad profit. And if you're going to be selling these things on eBay, you certainly want to consider the eBay fees. So eBay fees would be at 11.7%. They're going to be about $235, meaning that you would actually pocket a profit of $444. So you think about what we did. We had to purchase the cards, we had to pick out the gem mints, and then we had to send them in for submission and do all these things, and we're going to profit $444 on a 15 card submission. Is that worth it? I'll let you decide that. I think the time that you would have to put into doing it is debatable, whether it would be worth that. You can argue that you could send it in at the 90-day, which would save you $10 a card, which would be a total of $150. So that would bring that up to closer to $600 in terms of the profit. Is that worth it? I mean, you're making money, but also remember, this is based on all of those 15 cards being 9.5s. It's extremely unlikely that you get all MNT 9.5s, and the cards that you send in, depending on the price point and depending how good you do at picking those cards, you're unlikely to get your money back on an MNT 9.0. So you're losing on each one of those. So this is an absolute best case scenario for you. You'd be up about $600 through that submission. So how do we improve this return? The first thing that you want to do is look for high multiple cards. I talked about it in videos way back, Adam Fox. I wasn't even buying Adam Fox because I prospected him and thought that he was going to be a great player. I was buying Adam Fox because he was $10 and his PSA 10 was selling at $140 to $170. So it's a $10 card, and it was getting 14x. So it was just a really easy play and really smart, made sense. There's lots of those out there. Charlie McAvoy comes to mind. Charlie McAvoy, I think, is going at about 12x last I checked. So, at PSA, you can't send them in and get those returns right now. But those are the things that you want to be looking for regardless of who you're grading with, right? So you want to create a spreadsheet. You want to do sort of like I did and take a look at what the best possible return would be, what a realistic return would be, and what the worst case return would be. You have to be honest with yourself, guys, if you're going to do these things. You can't just say, well, I'm going to send them in and then, they're all going to be 9.5s. Like you have to expect to get some 9s, and you have to take a look at if one card gets a 9, is that going to crush the return, of the whole submission? You got to take a look at these, create a spreadsheet. You don't have to be a whiz. It's pretty easy, just pluses and minus. You just need to do a little bit of division and do a spreadsheet though, guys. I really encourage you to do that. Take the time. You want to do this, do it right. It's your money. You worked for it. I can't say it enough, but you got to put in the work, okay? Know how likely the cards are to gem. That's another big one. So lots of people want to just grab cards off the shelf and just fire them in. I mean, you can give that a whirl, see how it goes. It's likely not going to come back too well. I saw a submission on Facebook the other day, or not a submission, but a guy had gotten a whole bunch of graded cards back. And I think he had 4 PSA 10s and he had about 9 PSA 9s. That's somebody who just grabbed cards, threw them in, card savers and sent them off. You don't want to do that. It's negative EV. It's going to be upsetting. And when you're paying this much money to grade cards, if you're going PSA, you don't want to be doing that. You want to get better at grading those cards and vetting them, figuring out what's good, what isn't, and don't let other people do it for you. There's services where, they'll have a look over it for you. Typically they charge a fee. Just learn to do it yourself. I think there's a lot to learn about cards and the problems that they can have, and I just think makes a lot of sense. If you never do it yourself, you're never going to learn. And so how high do cards gem, right? You want to take a look at different sets and different players. If there's players that you're thinking of grading, take a look at their gem rate and see how they come out. Here's Cale Makar. He's at around 72%. So that's, I would say, about pretty normal for Upper Deck, Young Guns, most years products in general. And then you have some years that get a little bit better, and you have some years that are a lot worse. So Cale Makar, 72.3% there. Here's a perfect example. 2020 Upper Deck, Alexis Lafreniere. Great card to send in. Everyone likes Alexi. We'll just go with that. But gemming at 38.9%. So it doesn't make sense to send that card in. That season has a lot of quality control issues. There's a lot of flaking on the corners that I see. There's a lot of centering issues. And PSA is pretty loose with centering, but MNT is not so loose with centering, so especially if you're sending it in there, it's something that you want to really take a look at. But look at those corners, get a magnifier, have a look. But this is the first place to look. Take a look at what cards gem at a higher rate. It's going to be a great starting point, and it'll really help you out. So how do we improve this return? Again, we want to look for those high multiple cards. We want to create a spreadsheet. Put the time in before, and it's going to end up as money in your pocket after, guys. I promise you. And then know how likely your cards will gem. So again, gemrate.com, guys, definitely go and check that out. Well, so we've looked at MNT a bit. Let's talk about the positives. The positives, you have your card encapsulated. It's great for display. Some people love the slabs. I think they're very nice slabs as well. They're tougher on grading, which some people like. If you're looking to flip the card, why do you want a tough grader? I've never understood that. Well, they grade tough. Well, yeah, you're less likely to gem. So if it's for your PC and you want a 9.5 and it's a little bit better, that makes sense. If you want to flip it, like you don't want tough grading, but maybe some people do. I don't really get it. Anyways, it's a more inexpensive option for sure. And then the negatives, so lower resale value, right? We're looking to flip it. If you're looking to send it and flip it, then that resale value is not the same as some of the other companies. The reputation, so their slabs aren't widely accepted. I haven't had any, I haven't tried to move any. I wonder about liquidity. I wonder if they take longer to sell. How do you sell it faster? You price it lower. That doesn't help you in what we're trying to do here, right? So you certainly want to be aware of the liquidity issues that can come with it. And then, they're experiencing delays like we talked about, 4 to 8 weeks. So, you certainly want to consider that the time frame of the players that you're sending in. So what sort of conclusion are we drawing? The main thing that you have to keep in mind is you're going to have to buy a lot of cards and put that time in order to go through to pick out those gems. So they do grade a little bit tougher, or that's my understanding. That's what I hear. So that means you're going to have to buy more cards to go through. And then in turn, the cards that you don't grade, you're going to want to sell off again. So there's certainly work that comes with it. The margins seem a little bit thin for me. It just ends up being a lot of time that you have to spend doing this. The other thing that, the other thing is from the cards that I looked at, it didn't look like there were too many cards where you could sort of exploit the high ratio. There's certainly cards that you can make money, but there's a fine line where you're between, do you want to send your Kirill into PSA or do you want to send it to MNT? Once you get above a $40, $60, $70 card, you really want to see what that multiplier is with a PSA product and then make a decision and do that math. So it's not just doing the MNT calculation. You also want to take a look at, well, how would that card do at PSA at a $100 US dollar submission? You just really, again, it boils down to that spreadsheet. Once you have the data in front of you and you can see it, you can make your own conclusion. You put in the work. I think you can make money. I think it's very difficult. I think when you get a few nines, it's going to really cut down the return on that submission. So you want to be careful. You want to grade really well, which means you're going to have to buy more cards and all those things. But guys, hit that like button, please. I appreciate it. Leave a comment. Do you grade with MNT? Are you going there? Are you gonna? Do you think I'm totally off base? Have you maybe crushed a submission? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But till next time, guys, Lapper Flips, LAPP3030 _ flips on Instagram, posting lots of stuff, and later.